Hi everyone, good evening everyone and welcome. Thank you for joining us for tonight's webinar from candidate to charterholder. We have 46 people who have attended so far and we have like 300 registered for this session, so we'll be waiting for you. So briefly, thank you for joining us for tonight's webinar from candidate to charterholder. Lessons from those who have been there, hosted by CFA Society East Africa, in collaboration with CFA societies across Africa. My name is Elvis Habyarimana. I'm a CFA charter holder based in Kigali, working for Enco Capital. I've been with Enco Capital for the past 3.5 years. Before that, I was with BK Capital, and before that, I was with African Alliance. So I've acted as a broker, and then I've been in the asset management industry for the past 8 years. So I'll be the moderator this evening, and a few quick housekeeping notes. You're all muted to keep the audio clean. And if a question comes to you at any point, type it into the Q&A box, and we'll get to as many as we can in the Q&A session later. So here's how the next 90 minutes will run. I will introduce our two panelists. Who are currently online. So then we'll spend about like 40 minutes in conversations. We'll cover the CFA journeys, the study plans that actually worked, how they balanced life and preparations, and the lessons and mistakes worth knowing. So then we'll open the floor to your questions for around like 25 minutes and close with some rapid fire advice from each panelist. So whether you're thinking about registering somewhere in the middle of level 1, 2, or 3, or supporting candidates on their way, you're in the right place. Feel free to ask the questions, and we'll start by the start. Let's meet our panel. First, we have Diana and Tiwa. Diana is an investment analyst at Mayfair Asset Managers in Nairobi. She's an actuarial science graduate of the University of Nairobi, and her path ran through data analytics and the insurance sector before she moved into asset management. And along the way, she cleared all 3 CFA levels to earn her charter. Diana, welcome, and please add something about yourself that you think should be added here. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this session. Thank you for introducing me. I think for now, I have nothing to add.
Thank you, Diana. The next guest that we have today is Pauline Arigie. Pauline is an investment professional and transaction advisor and a partner at Carium Advisors in Kampala. She spent close to 4 years as an investment officer at Uganda Development Bank, structuring and closing multi-million-dollar debt deals across health, infrastructure, industry, and agro-processing. And remarkably, she came into finance from a civil engineering background, so before recently earning her CFA charter. So Pauline, welcome. Anything you'd like to add now?
Thank you, Elvis. You've actually covered it all. Thank you.
Thank you both. Wonderful. Thank you both. Let's get into it. So we'll start at the beginning. So take us back to the start. So what pulled you toward the CFA charter, and what did the road from registration to charter holder actually look like? Roughly, how long did it take end to end? Diana, perhaps you can start. We'd like to understand how this started, how the journey started. Yeah.
I hope you can hear me.
Yeah.
So the journey for me started after campus. As you said, I did actuarial science. So there's something wrong with my...
We can hear you well, huh? So we expect you like to tell us how this started. Did the timeline go as planned? Was there a point like you nearly walked away? What kept you going? Yeah. So, yeah.
Let Pauline answer that as I figure out my audio.
Okay, cool.
Echo on the side.
Cool, Pauline.
Okay, thank you. So you had mentioned earlier that I did my undergrad in civil and environmental engineering, and soon after graduating, I became interested in joining the finance industry and found an opportunity with my previous employer, Uganda Development Bank. The environment that I was stepping into had me surrounded by people who had 15 years, 20 years of experience on me, and I felt deathly under competitive. So there was a bit of pressure to start to understand the language, know what I'm talking about, be able to make decisions, be able to read data and develop insights. And it took me a while going through a number of potential postgraduate courses that could expose me to this knowledge before I landed on CFA. But I was mainly encouraged by a fellow colleague who is also a charter holder, who introduced me to the program and really gave me the best pitch possible, while saying that it is going to be the most remarkable journey of my life and it's not going to be easy, but it will be worth it. Regarding the timeline, you asked about that as well. So the timeline went as planned. I'm grateful. There were 3 levels, 3 exams, 3 years. And what kept me going? My goodness, I'll be honest and say there was definitely a bit of pressure the moment I registered to finish what I have started. But also I could see the very visible change in the way I started to interact with the information. I started to understand the terms. I started to know what things mean, how relationships result. I started to look at data differently with now a bit of a finance mindset. So that really kept me going because I could see that what I was seeking is coming to me. Yes.
Interesting. Very interesting. I don't know if Diana managed to. Please, Diana,
Yes.
just go ahead. Yeah.
So for me, my journey took 4 years. It started in campus. I did actuarial science, and I knew that I did want to pursue a career in actuarial. So I had to speak to industry experts and ask, I have actuarial science. I don't want to pursue actuarial. I don't want to do actuarial papers. What can I do? And so after speaking to a number of people, everyone was like, so what are you interested in? You know, when you first registered to do actuarial, what were you looking for? And there's an interview I did with an insurance company. And when they asked why I wanted to join the company, I said, I want to know the premiums that they get. Where do they invest in for them to get returns? And one of the panelists she told me, I think what you're looking for is a positions on the investment side. So maybe that's where your career should be headed. So I think from that conversation now, that's when I started speaking to people in the investments industry, and I came to learn about CFA. So I enrolled in a school because I did have anyone around me who had done CFA before, and I wanted that community. So I enrolled in Strathmore University, where one of the lecturers I met, he told me more about CFA, and at the end, like what you will get once you've done this program. So I enrolled for the CFA program before I joined the investments industry. And I think it was quite a journey. I did 2 levels, level 1 and 2. I passed on the first trial. For level 3, the time I had registered, I lost my grandmother, and that loss sort of affected me, and I debated on whether I should defer the paper. But after discussions with my parents and my friends, they advised me just go in, feel how the paper is, and next time when you register, then you'll have a bit of information on how the exam looks like. So I did the first level 3 exam, got in the room. I didn't have any content. My work there was just to look at how the exam looks like, how the questions are structured. And so now the next time that I registered, I knew now I was ready. And I was like, let me lock in. I'm only doing this thing one more time. If I fail, I'm gonna take a break from this thing because reading for CFA is quite it's quite tough, especially if you're balancing it with work. So I knew I had to lock in and just pass. I did the exam in the February sitting earlier this year, and I thank God that I passed. So what kept me going doing the 3 levels? So for level 1 and 2, obviously I knew once you pass level 1, you're like, then I have to log in and pass level 2. Then for level 3, it's, you're on the last mile. It's just a matter of one more paper and you get that prestigious title next to your name. You have the CFA. So I think it's just what kept me going was the urge and the need to finish this whole program and my charter. And also now, because I had joined the industry, the charter is extremely relevant in the investments industry. So I knew that once I get it, it's going to open for me more doors, more opportunities. My network is going to grow. And so all those points are what kept me going for the 4 years that I did.
Oh, thank you. Interesting. So Diana is coming from an actuarial background. Pauline is coming from a civil engineering background. So both are not, it's not really finance background, but at least actuarial science is kind of related to finance. So I have a question for Pauline, coming from a civil engineering background to, to starting this CFA, like, is it like the reason why you started CFA because you were in a finance demanding role and you had a background not in finance? It would be good to have that perspective. I know that we have some people who are following this call or this webinar who don't have a finance background and who are considering starting the CFA. So can you please start based on it? Thank you. Pauline.
Yes, thank you so much. So the transition was definitely not easy, truthfully, but the way the CFA program is designed is that it sort of teaches you how to teach yourself. And I think maybe that's the most valuable skill set that you can pick up along the journey. So irrespective of me entering the finance industry without any idea, truthfully, I didn't even know what a balance sheet was, an income statement. I didn't know how the statements all have relationships with each other. I didn't know any of that. All I knew was physics and math. And the way the program is designed is that if you learn how to teach yourself, then it becomes a very surmountable mountain. You can do it, irrespective of your background, you can do it.
Yeah, thank you, Pauline. Thank you, Diana. This takes us to the next step. The next step, we would like to get practical because this is what a lot of people came for. So we would like to know the study system that actually worked for you. When did you start before each exam? Let's say you have an exam in Feb. When did you start? And roughly how many hours a week did you study for the exam? And the one I know many of you are wondering about, like, did you use a prep provider or the CFA curriculum was enough? So, something else, we can start by this, but we expect you to cover, like, did that change by level? Let's say level 1 study system was different from the one used for level 2 or for the one of level 3. So yeah, please go ahead. We can start with Diana, perhaps.
Okay. So for level 1, they mentioned earlier, I enrolled at my university. They offer study courses for the program. So that's what I did for level 1. We were a class of around 50 students. And I think from that class up to this point, I only know 2 of us were holders. So I think that can tell you about the past grade and all those details. So for level 1, the tutoring classes I got from Strathmore and my personal study. And as a class, we also got the Kaplan Cuban. So we were discussing that, and I think for the 3 levels, we have used Kaplan Cuban for the 3 levels. They are quite, they are, the way they explain the answers is quite easy for you to understand, especially if you also don't have like a finance background. Because as much as I did at social, I also didn't have any experience with any financial statement. So that will be for me. I struggled with a bit. Derivatives, those are things that I had not experienced before, I had not come before. So discussions help for level 1. So for level 2 and 3, for self-study. And we got, my friends and I, we got Macmillan course. So the videos are extremely summarized now. So the videos, Macmillan videos are quite helpful. The questions are quite hard, also good. I think when you do Macmillan, as much as you, because I've not met one who has told me they've done Macmillan questions and mocks and pass. Like, you pass the exam, but the actual MM mocks are pretty hard. So I think you go to those mocks and they keep back to the open mind of there to learn. Whatever grade you get while doing revision, it really doesn't matter. What matters is retain after you've gone through the question. And then for level 3, I did the same. We used Macmillan videos, and that one now I did Kaplan, Cuban. I also got from the study network, you get to meet someone else who maybe has got U1 or whichever other program there are. So I think the best thing would be a network of people where you're able to share the resources that you have, because they're also quite expensive. The exam itself is expensive, the providers are expensive, the Cubans are also expensive. So if you can find a way, have a group of people where you can share the resources across each other, then that would be quite helpful. In terms of reading hours, so for level 1, the classes on the evening. So that meant class, you also tired because you've been working throughout the day, the classes at night. So after the classes, I wasn't really much reading. That meant I had to wake up early in the morning. I'm not a morning person at all. So during those 3 levels, I had to become a morning. So get up early, read fast, then go to work. Then in the evening, level 1, go for my tutoring classes. Level 2 and 3, either go for discussion or do self-study. Weekends also, I mean, we say your social life goes to about less than 10%. So over the weekend, there are so many plans, you just let go of them. Saturday and Sunday, whichever day works, you just ensure that the calendar you set yourself, you're working, you follow it to the T. If you set that 2 weeks, I need to finish this certain topic, just follow that, because it helps that when you're approaching the exam, you already covered all the curriculum, you've covered quite a number of questions. Now you're just doing and reviewing the places where you're struggling. So I think that was my plan. Something else that really helped was having a study partner or an accountability partner. So for level 3, because that was hardest for me, Pauline was actually my study partner. And we are both in different countries, we pay same time zone, but we set those meetings after work. Both of us at 5, we are locked in, and we log in, have a discussion. Over the weekend, the same thing. So having a study partner or an accountability partner helps with that, because you both move at the same pace, and you have someone who is holding you accountable, you also push yourself because you don't want to let. So that really
Thank you, Diana. I didn't want to interrupt your chain of thought. We could hear you, but there is some background noise. So we could hear what you were saying, but there is a background noise just for your information. But thank you, and this is insightful. We would like to hear from Pauline. We would like to understand what was your study system, what worked for you, either for level one, for level two, for level three, what worked for all the levels at the same time. So, and did you use a prep provider? Yeah, please, Pauline, go ahead. Thank you. Pauline, you're currently on mute, but for everyone information, you can actually type the questions even during the call, during the webinar, and they will be replied. We'll try to have them replied at the end of the webinar during the Q&A session. But Pauline, please go ahead. So as we wait for Pauline, I will share my I will share my study system. So for level one, level two, and three, I actually passed level one and two on the first attempt, but level three I had to sit for level three times. So for level one and two, as Diana said, I was also a morning person studying before going to work, and I didn't use a prep provider per se, but I was watching additional video materials that were available on YouTube. For level two, it was same strategy. I barely passed the line, like the passing. My line was just above the passing line, so I barely passed the level two. And for level three, after failing twice, I had to register for a prep provider, and that actually helped. But I wanted to share that it's possible to pass without a prep provider using the CFA curriculum, but sometimes using the prep providers can help you fast track things and learn faster and sometimes better depending on the person. But yeah, that was my I don't know if Pauline managed to join, so we would like to hear from her. Perhaps as we wait for
Sorry,
Pauline.
Elvis. She's dropped off, but she's rejoining. Maybe you can be proceeding, and then I'll notify you when she's back.
Sure. Thank you, Grace. So as we wait for Pauline, we can go to the next one. So almost everyone watching or like studying for CFA is doing this alongside a full-time job, and many alongside families. Perhaps I'm not sure if that's the case for Diana and Pauline, but there are people who are like fathers or mothers and also pursuing CFA or also studying full-time, doing their master's degree and also doing CFA, or working full-time and doing CFA, or doing everything at the same time. So we would like to we would like to hear your thoughts. So what defined level one, level two, and level three for you? Sorry. I mean, how did you protect your study time without burning out? So, and what did you have to give up for a season as you were preparing for the CFA? Please, Diana, go ahead.
I hope my audio is now okay.
So far, so good. Yeah, it's better.
Okay, so as I said earlier, CFA reading and prepping is going to take over your social life. Your social life will be greatly reduced, especially if you're a social person and you have events every other day. So I'd say for me, there's no perfect balance, because on one end, you put all this time studying, and life goes on. There are events happening, there are weddings you're being invited to, there are burials, there are baby showers going on. So it's just a matter of you balancing your time and knowing if, let's say, you have an event coming up over the weekend, then you're going to maximize your morning hours, your evening hours during the week. So when I was doing the 3 levels, I was also balancing work. So that meant getting to the office earlier or reading at home before I come to the office in the morning, in the evening also. So for us, we close work at 4:30. So I'd give myself 30 minutes, and then at 5, I'm back at it. And I was so diligent with myself. But sometimes you're so burnt out, sometimes you have a lot of work, you have deadlines coming up, you have reporting coming up, and you'd find that those deadlines that you've put for yourself will not work. So that meant you'll have to recover that time that you've lost probably over the weekend. So it's just a matter of you balancing your time. As I said earlier, have your own calendar where you set goals on the levels at which you want to achieve the syllabus completion. So if you've said for yourself you're going to finish derivatives in a month or in whichever period time frame that you've given yourself, ensure that you stick to that. And if you're not able to stick to that, try to find some time to recover, because once you keep on pushing work that you've not covered, then it's going to take over the time that you prep, especially the few weeks to the exam, where you need to have already covered your syllabus and you're just now revising the topics that gave you some few challenges here and there. So greatly reduce your social life, honestly. I don't think I've met anyone who has told me they maintained their life the way it was before they started the charter. So just lock in and tell yourself it's just for a short period of time. Once you're done, you can go back to having your social life. Yeah, so there's no perfect balance. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I share the same opinion. We have Pauline who came back. I would like Pauline to cover the 2 questions that we covered so far. We would like to hear about your study system, what actually worked for you for each levels or for all the levels. Did you use a prep provider? And and then we'll go to the next question that Diana just covered, but about how did you protect your study time without burning out? Yeah. But we will start with the first one, the study system that actually worked for you. Yeah, please go ahead, Pauline.
Okay, thank you. I'm so sorry I had a few connectivity issues, but I'm back. So regarding the preparation process, I thankfully had a mentor throughout the whole process. So we devised the study roadmap together. The plan was to start studying at least 9 to 8 months before the exam, and to give the first 7 months everything that I had to give. So you did at least 6 days a week. So I had to find 3 hours in the morning before my job and 3 hours in the evenings. The 3 hours in the evenings were typically discussions. And maybe I can chime in and mention that a reality that I had to deal with at every level is that the study group that you prepared for level 1 with is not necessarily the same study group that you'll prepare for the other levels with. So, you've spent so much time with these people and you've built a bond, and now you have to go and start again with a new group of people. But I was really lucky that at level 3, Diana was actually my discussion mate. We ran that final race together. But it was also important to have at least a minimum study sessions that were at least a minimum of 2 hours. The idea behind this is because the exam is 2 hours and 15 minutes long, then it's important that you teach your brain to get used to having to perform critical thinking for a longer period of time. Because the exam is exhausting, it's very exhausting. And if you get in and 45 minutes in, you're tired, then it's going to affect your performance for the rest of the exam. Regarding how I organized the topics, I decided to start with my hardest topics, that the derivatives. That I always started with derivatives because I felt that if I start with a harder topic, then I give it more time for practice, because I can always return to it across maybe the 8 months. My prep provider was Mark Mildrum. For the 3 years that I walked this journey, Dr. Mildrum was really my best friend. From someone who was coming from an engineering background, he explained things in a way that I could understand them, which was so surprising. But I just felt his teaching methods were the most efficient to get me to understand in the shortest time possible. I found him very practical, even in how he would advise a candidate to approach their own practice or their own questions, just trying to break a few mental barriers as per the way one approaches critical study of this kind. Regarding my non-negotiables, I don't know if this will be controversial, but I feel it's the most important thing to get an online prep provider. While it may be okay, I guess also having paying to access maybe some prep provision services from a location, a school, can be handy, because then you have a group to hold you accountable about how you spend your time. You have people that you're communing with, and it's easier to find study partners. But the biggest advantage of having an online prep provider is that you can do this on your own schedule. If you're getting up at 4 in the morning to study, it's available. The videos are available. They are pre-recorded. You don't have to design your study around a teacher's schedule, because then Mark Mildrum is there just waiting for you all the time. The only con is that it requires a higher level of discipline, because no one is going to remind you to show up and study. You have to remind yourself. Nice to have. If you can, please do your exams in different cities. It's what I did. I felt robbed of my leave time because I had to spend all my leave time studying. So that meant that what I would have maybe used to travel and see the world, that time has to be dedicated to studying. So I made a deal with myself that I would sit each exam in a different city, and I tried to choose accessible cities. I think I sat my level 1 in Nairobi, my level 2 in Dar es Salaam. I tried to choose cities that didn't have any visa issues or things like that were easy to access. So it will make the journey more exciting, and it will cause you to have something to look forward to, because you can't afford to be an unhappy tourist after your exam. Yes. Regarding the mock exams, they were one of the most central tools to my preparation, because they exposed my areas of weakness and my areas of strength, and they sort of channeled me to see how I can plan any remaining time to dedicate to areas of weakness. I just want to emphasize that mock exams are best utilized if they are not approached with a mindset to memorize the questions or the exams. They're supposed to be a tool to expose where you can do better, where you're struggling, and that information it's all you need. Because when you know where you're struggling, then you can plan and dedicate the appropriate amount of time to it, or bring it up during a discussion, or find a way to get better. My most valuable tool beyond my mock exams was definitely planning. Before sitting down for the 9 to 8 months, I had to map out how I was going to approach this, because level 1 and 2 had 10 topics, level 3 had 6 topics. So how do I distribute my time? And if I start, let's say with derivatives, and I finish that, I often liked to do ethics next, because it carries the largest credit on the exam, and it's at every level, so I have to do it. Once I was done with derivatives, I had to find time in my day at least to do 10 questions on derivatives. And once I was done with derivatives and ethics, then I had to find time in my 6 hours to do 20 questions, 10 on ethics, 10 on derivatives. So with time, you'd find the study time is reducing and the practice time is increasing. And practice is what you want to do. You need to get your brain used to having to retrieve that information in an organized manner. So I hope that has given some people a few pointers, but planning is going to be your best friend.
Yeah, sure. I think you've covered almost everything. There's a questions in the chat. There are more questions in the chat, but there's a questions related to this specific question, like to this specific topic. Someone was asking how many questions and mocks did you do? If you can touch base shortly on this, and then we'll talk about the the next question that Diana replied before you. Yeah, replied to before you. Yeah.
So how many questions and mocks did I do? I did all the questions on the CFA curriculum, all the questions, all the after topic questions, all the mocks. And then, as I said earlier, I used Kaplan QBank for all the 3 levels. So I also did all the questions on the QBank. Mark Meldrum, when you purchase the videos, they come with some questions and mocks. I also did that, but I'll admit for Mark Meldrum, the mocks were quite challenging for me, so I didn't do all of them. For Mark Meldrum, his mocks I'd say like 2 for each level, and I used them just as a way of looking at how, if a tough question comes, this is how it's going to be structured, because I found his questions quite hard. But I'd say once you do the curriculum, the CFA curriculum mocks, the questions, even those alone, they're enough prep before you go to do the exam. But if you can add, supplement with maybe another provider, still better, because other providers will give you a view of how different questions can be structured. Yeah, so do all the questions from the CFA curriculum, and if you can afford to get provider questions, you can as well do that. CFA nowadays also provide the extra questions and extra mocks. So if you're able to purchase them, they're also good, because I've met quite a number of people who have only prepped using the CFA curriculum. No provider, no nothing else, just CFA reading the notes, doing the questions and doing the mocks, and they passed. So I think the structure around doing questions is read the curriculum, understand it, do the questions. Where you find that you're failing, those weak points, go back, read again and again and again till those points stick in your head. So that by the time you're doing your mocks, you feel a bit prepared. But also another thing, if you do a mock, your first mock, and you're asking your friend, what did you get in your first mock? Your friend tells you, for me, I got an 80. You got a 50. Don't start losing hope. Don't think that, you're doomed, you're going to fail. Have enough time in between mocks and the time that you're doing exam. All the questions that you failed in the mock, go back to the curriculum, look at that topic, do a deep dive. If you can ask someone, if you're finding it hard to understand, ask anyone. There are the CFA WhatsApp groups. You can just post your question there. You can ask for a study partner from there. Because I remember for my time for level 3, Pauline texted, I saw Pauline's text on the group asking, anyone who wants a study partner. And I DM'd her, and that's how our partnership started. So don't be afraid to reach out to WhatsApp groups, reach out on LinkedIn. If you follow anyone with CFA after their name, drop a question to them, message them. Don't be afraid to ask anyone. Don't be a loner in this journey. There are so many people around you. There are so many people are willing to help. So, yeah, don't be afraid to reach out.
Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Diana. So before we go to the next new question, I would like Pauline to address the question that you addressed before. Pauline, how did you protect your study time without burning out, given that you had another full-time job? So I would like to understand, what did you have to give up for a season, given that your 24 hours were already busy, so you had to find another 2 to 3 hours for the CFA. How were the final 6 to 8 weeks crunch? What did you ask for your manager, partner, or family? A boundary or ritual that keeps you sane? So please share your thoughts on this, and we'll go to the next questions for you guys. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. So how I protected my study time, I live with my sister. So for us who don't live alone, And I had to have a conversation with her that, during these hours I am studying, maybe we can like keep it down, or I will not be available. Sometimes I would even switch off my phone because I don't want interruptions. But I had to communicate to my closest family members. What I did ask of my manager, I requested not to take any of my annual leave until it was time for my exam, so that I could have maybe 3 weeks of preparation time before my exam. And I was really lucky, well, grateful that he was able to arrange that for me. The final 6 to 8 week crunch. So I found this advice quite out of the box the first time I received it at level 1 from my mentor. He's called Peter Otto. He's also a Charterholder. So Peter said the first 7 months of preparation, give those 6 hours a day, everything that you can. Show up, tally your hours at the end of the week, and just go at it. Go very, very hard, because in the last 2 months, you need to start slowing down. Even take a break, maybe for a week. Don't study. Maybe go to the beach, unwind, rest your mind, because now you're preparing it to get into the final 100 meters of the race. So when you come back from that break, be critical about how you spend your study time. Don't spend your study time in those last 8 weeks studying things that you already know. It's a waste of time. Study the areas that you're weak. Have discussions. Like Diana said, reach out to people. Allow your challenging of certain things allow your understanding of certain things to be challenged, because it's the only way you can correct that. And in those 6 to 8 weeks is when I did also the most mocks. I honestly tried to do, the idea is that by the time the 7 months end, I should be prepared. Like, I should have done all the curriculum studying. I've read through all the material provided by the institute. I've gone through all my Mark Milgram videos, and now I'm ready to sit a mock exam as soon as they are available. I think there's definitely a limit to how early the mock exams can be provided, but as soon as they're available, I start to sit 1 mock exam a week and do its corrections within that week. In addition to doing the corrections, I had to go back to my areas of weakness and ask and question and probe and study until I felt a bit stronger or more confident. Now, the final week towards the exam, I started to study maybe 1 hour a day. I was sleeping again the 8 hours, I was exercising, I was relaxing, because the brain has been running a marathon for 7 months or 8 months, and it needs a moment to first recharge before you go do that last big thing. So I was really, really surprised, but it's honestly what worked for me. And I understand if maybe you say you are a last minute person and you can't imagine being 2 days to an exam and you're not buried in a book, but you'd be surprised what 7 months of very good and early preparation can do for you in those last weeks to enable you to be well rested, because the exam requires agility. I honestly, I think I'm convinced that the program tests things like agility, thinking on your feet, quick decision making. It tests how fast you can interpret information. And if you're not well rested before your exam, then your critical thinking abilities are impaired. But yes, and also have a positive mindset. Diana and I started each discussion by, sharing compliments, telling ourselves that we are very smart and we are capable young women and we can do this. So a positive mindset can go a long way in reframing how your mind approaches certain things. Yes.
Thank you, Pauline. We'll then go to the next question about the different levels. So we have level 1, level 2, and level 3, and they all have their own personality. So Diana, could you please start based on what defined level 1, level 2, and level 3 for you? How did your approach have to change, as you claimed, from, like, we know level 1 and 2, it's multiple choices. Level 3, there are essay questions. I don't know if any of you, you probably also had to choose pathways on level 3, either portfolio management, private wealth, private markets. Which pathway did each of you choose and why? And how did you prepare, like, for the essay part, for example, on the level 3? Yeah, so we would like to understand for each level what has been changing over time. as you claimed. Yeah, Diana.
Okay. So for level 1, I went into it, studying a bit of it, very open-minded, very excited, and very sure that I'm going to pass. I told myself, girl, you have done actuarial science. There's nothing harder that you'll come across. And we started with quantitative methods. Remember I said I joined Strathmore. And because I had covered that in my actuarial classes, it was so easy. It was quite easy for me compared to other people who didn't have any background information on the unit. And then the next topic came the financial statements. And I'm asking myself, what are these? How am I supposed to interpret? And it was challenging. Came derivatives also. So level 1, I think, as we progressed in the topic, I think it dawned to me that this is actually not as simple as I had expected it to be, and I have to take it serious. And I remember there's a class we had with, he's called David Maura, he's part of the CFA board. And guys were coming to class late. People were not like that serious those first months of school. And he sat us down and he told us, you guys, you're taking this thing as a joke. You're not serious. Like, haven't you gone online, seen the pass rates? Why are you not serious with this thing? And I think we had like a long conversation of him really telling us the reality of things, that as much as you've enrolled in this school, you think because you have tutors, you're going to pass. You have to put in the work. You have to do in the extra mile. You have to read for yourself. What you're being taught in class is not enough. Go read for yourself. Try understanding the concepts by yourself. And after the first sitting, we were less than 10 people in the whole class that passed. And it's a class which had over 40 people, and less than 10 people pass. And so it becomes quite serious that, this thing is not a joke. And in the coming levels, you need to change your strategy if you still want to pass. So now for level 2, it was self-study. Chose McMeldrum as my provider, Kaplan QBank, and I locked in. And I told myself, in that group from the Strathmore class, the ones who have passed, I'll have to be amongst the ones who will proceed to do level 3. So it was a lot of discussions, a lot of reading morning and evening, a lot of declining invitations, setting boundaries even at work, that past 4:30, I'm reading, don't disturb me. If it's work, and at work, sometimes you're given a lot of work that you can't handle. I learned to say no, that I'll not be able to handle this. I'm reading, and I made sure that everyone at work also understood the seriousness of what I was doing. Because at the end of the day, you spend quite a lot of money registering for the exam, the time that you put in. So anything that can do to help you to pass, then do it. If it means setting boundaries, even at work, and saying no to extra work, then you gotta do it. So among the 3 levels, level 2 was my easiest actually. And I passed, it was above the 90th percentile. I think that one is just because of I was so afraid, because after level 1, after I saw the quite huge number of people who had failed, I knew that for level 2, I had to do something. So level 2, I passed. And then for level 3 now, the sitting that I passed, it was just, it's the last step. It's like, this is the final one. I'm close to the finish. I gotta do this thing. And I think also I met a few friends who had cleared. And one of them I had joined Strathmore with. He was the first one in the whole cohort to finish. And he did his level 3 exam last year, August. And I met him, and he was with another lady who had also passed. And I think actually like meeting these people in person made me believe in myself that it's not just random people who pass. Even people who I know can pass. And if they pass, then that means even me, I have the ability in me to pass because these are people you know. So I think having that personal touch with people who have already cleared also helped me build my confidence that I'm going to pass. And as Pauline said, for our level 3, we started our discussions with, we've already passed this thing. We are so smart. We are going to remember everything. So even just that positive affirmations that you tell yourself every single day, they set up your mindset, they shift your mindset, and they make you believe in yourself. So that was the 3 levels in a nutshell for me.
Thank you, Diana. I have a question for the end regarding when you say like you had a prep provider, Mark Room, and then you also use the Kaplan Q Bank. I was thinking about the costs. Did you pay for Mark Room and Kaplan at the same time? Wasn't it costly? But I don't know if you can reply it like in 10 seconds. That would be great before we go to Pauline. Yeah.
So what I did is the people around me, we cost shared. So get a group of people, if you can cost share, because paying for the exam and paying for the extra providers is a bit expensive. So if you can find a community and you cost share, then the better.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Diana. So Pauline, you can tell us about your approach to each levels. What changed that you climbed from level 1 to level 3? Yeah. And
Okay. The biggest difference between level 1 and level 3 was the degree of understanding that was required of the candidates. You had to go deeper into the relationships the higher you went in the program. You had to understand small things and how they all confluence into a certain effect. But more importantly, for level 3, there was a requirement to be able to communicate your understanding of the information provided in the vignette as efficiently as possible. Meaning, don't write paragraphs, don't write stories, find a way to fit everything you're saying into one line. Something I really appreciated with Dr. Mildrum is at the beginning of level 3, the first video 1, is him deconstructing constructed response questions and providing guidance on how to approach them. So if you have that kind of guidance before you start to prepare for the exam, then it becomes easier to approach those particular questions having had that background in mind. Yes, for the pathway that I chose portfolio management. Truthfully, I chose it because at level 1 and level 2, it was my favorite topic. It was my easiest. So, yeah.
thank you, Pauline. Thank you, Diana. We'll go to the next question now. If you could like redo one thing about how you prepared, what would it be, and what mistakes do you see candidates making again and again? For example, something you've invested in that didn't pay off. Yeah, please go ahead, Pauline.
Okay, so I feel that everything that I did paid off. Every hour, every declined invitation, every late night and early morning, it all paid off. Just know it, I feel that it all paid off. But the thing that I would want to really request candidates to consider is getting a discussion group, and more importantly, keeping your discussion group to a maximum of 4. One, when you're only 4 individuals or less, it allows you enough time to ask questions and ask them as many times as they need to be asked until you understand. The time is there for every discussion mate to be maybe discussed for, if we could say that. But also, I have had certain candidates maybe say that, oh, they are more of loners, they don't gel well with people. But it's important that your understanding is challenged, because sometimes you think you know something, but you don't. And these discussion groups help you grow networks and make friends. I am still friends with the people that I met at each level. So please just, if you can, get a discussion mate as early as possible and keep it to a maximum of 4. Yes, please, I'm done.
Yeah, thank you, Pauline. I was saying, Diana, if you could like redo one thing about how you prepared, what would it be, and what mistakes do you see candidates making again and again? Then we'll move to the Q&A. Yeah, thanks.
So one thing I could, if given the chance, I think I'd start the discussion with Pauline earlier, because we started our discussions in October. That was in prep for level 3. So I think we'd start earlier because we found ourselves even on Sundays, we are still waiting for discussions. So we'd start earlier. But I'd say obviously everything that I did for all the levels paid off because I was able to clear. So a mistake that I've seen candidates make, one, and it's okay to be confident, but overconfidence to the point where you don't put as much effort the coming weeks, the few weeks to the exam, or where you feel like, let's say you did a course like, let's say financial engineering in campus, because most of the concepts taught there are also taught in the CFA curriculum. So having that emotion that because you already covered this material in campus, then you not put as much effort when you're reading. That's a lie. Read the curriculum, read everything given there, because whatever you know before, and plus the curriculum keeps on changing year on year. So, look at what updates, what changes have been made from the last time. Let's say you failed a level. In the next sitting, confirm what changed from the previous sitting. Another mistake that many candidates make is failing to reread questions. You read a question once and you're done. You've already selected your answer. I have met guys who, after the paper, someone tells you, like, it dawned on them after the paper. They're like, okay, that question, what was it asking? Did it say no? Did it say, like the keywords which were used? So read and reread the question so that you understand it well, and you know whether it's asking a pro, a con, whichever thing it's asking. Reread the questions, just don't rush. And then another mistake that candidates make is failing to do enough mocks. I feel like the two, because in the CFA curriculum, it's usually 2 mocks, AM, PM, mocks. Doing those 2 full mocks in a setting like the actual exam where you set yourself, you do the first paper, give yourself 30 minutes, come again and do the second paper, because that will simulate what the actual exam will look like. Because there are some times where you go into the exam room and you only have 30 minutes between the 2 papers. And because you didn't practice enough before, you have that mental exhaustion. So it's good enough before you do the paper, when you're doing your mocks, simulate them as if you're doing the actual exam. Time yourself well, give yourself the 30-minute break or even less, go back and do the other paper. And then, keep on revising those questions till all those concepts are at your fingertips. And then for level 3, time management, because remember you're needed to type in your answers. So if you don't manage your time well, then you'll find yourself in a bit of a situation. So good time management, where you've already practiced enough so that when you sit for the paper, you're able to manage your time well. And maybe depending on your decision, you can start, for example, level 3, you can start with the multiple choice questions and then go and type the rest of the answers. Or you can do just as the questions flow, but have a structure already in place before you come into the paper. Yeah.
Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Diana. Insightful feedback we got from Pauline and Diana about the approach that we can have in approaching the exams, the different difficulty levels for each level that we face. So we will go to the Q&A now and start with the first question. Any of you can take the question, either Pauline or Diana. So I will start with Gracia Junior Mutumbi, who asked, what does the market for charter holders look like in East Africa currently? So it's related to a question that I had. Has earning the charter actually changed things from a career perspective, credibility, confidence, network? And was it worth the sacrifice? So in the Q&A, someone is asking, what does the market for charter holders look like in East Africa? And I think that aligns with that question of does the charter actually change things for you in your career, whether it's for credibility, confidence, network? Either Pauline or Diana can take the questions, or both of you if you're fast for the interest of time. Yeah.
Diana, would you like to share the changes in your career since earning the charter?
So since earning the charter, what has changed in my career? So obviously, I think the first thing that someone will want to know, did your salary change? Did your compensation change? Yeah, so earning the charter, having those 3 letters after your name, it obviously changes the trajectory of your career, your life. So even when you're quoting salary, it has to have the weight of a charter holder. Yes, and also just the responsibilities that you're given. I think pursuing the charter itself proves to employers and your managers that you're resilient, you're able to understand concepts, and so you're given a bit more responsibilities. There's a bit of more trust in the work that you're doing, and also just recognition in the industry. So I'll speak for Kenya. So I'd say the market for charter holders is quite huge. And after I got my charter, like people reach out to you, people you've never spoken to before, CEOs, managers, and they're even offering you positions. So it really changes the trajectory of your life. But also now that also comes at a cost of where you're asking yourself, as much as you have this charter, do you have, the content, or did you just memorize your work through your way through the charter, and then are you done and someone is asking you a question and you can't formulate an answer? So I'd say also when you're reading, understand the coursework, because especially in the investments industry, whatever you read is exactly what we do. And so if, let's say, you're analyzing equities, you say you passed CFA, but you're told to come up with a model, you're told to analyze a certain asset class, and your work is not good enough, your content is not there. So you need to also understand what you've read so that you can translate it into the workplace, and that your work also has that credibility.
Thank you, Diana. So briefly, it was worth the cost, all the sacrifice that you made. So same for me. That's also same. I'm based in Rwanda, and it was also worth it. The next question is, how many questions and mocks did you do? We've covered that questions. So basically, Diana said that she did all the mocks provided by CFA, and added additional mocks, but she mentioned that the mocks provided by the CFA are immersed. They have to be done, and this you can do more from Kaplan or from other providers. That's great as well. The other The other one is a comment. And then there is a question, how accessible and useful are past papers in understanding the CFA exam structure, question style, difficulty level, and time management requirement? Is there someone who wants to reply to that question, or I can go ahead and reply? And also the next question. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Regarding past papers, Diana had mentioned that the curriculum evolves every year with new information. I think on the institute's end, they are also trying to keep updated with the way that they administer the program and the way that the exam is also administered. So if you're to say past papers, a CFA paper from 2016, I don't even know where you'd find that, may not be relevant for the CFA exam in 2026. So I'd advise that you stick to the CFA Institute readings that are provided, the mock exams, the mock exam of the provider that year. So the past papers they paint a different picture from where we are today.
Thank you, Pauline. So the most recent they are, the better, given that the curriculum keeps changing. So the next question, I had the same question myself. I personally went through the whole curriculum for all the levels, but I've heard people who passed the exam without reading the whole curriculum. So I would like to understand. I would like to know if you, Diana and Pauline, went through the whole curriculum and didn't just go through the shortcuts of providers only. And did you go through the curriculum? Or is there a way to pass like all the 3 levels by going through shortcuts? Diana or Pauline or both?
There are no shortcuts to this thing. You gotta go through the whole curriculum, but also something that I saw helped for some units, the curriculum was too detailed. So because I had Macmeldrum videos, and Macmeldrum, they come with summarized notes. So I go through that, go back to the curriculum, go through the blue block examples, and then do the questions after the topic. Yeah, so for the bulky topics, that's what I did. But for topics that the curriculum, I could understand what the curriculum is saying, I went through that.
Understood.
Yeah, but I'd say like 90% I read the curriculum.
And an additional quick question is, when did you start doing the mocks? So before the exam, like 3 months before, 2 months before?
I started doing the mocks 6 weeks to the exam.
6 weeks to the exam. So 2
Yeah,
months.
6 weeks to the exam.
1 month and a half,
Yeah.
2 months before. Oh, okay.
Yes.
So perhaps we can have Pauline responding to the next question on how has the charter impacted your delivery at work practically? Or Diana, you can also jump in. If that's an interesting question for you. So we would like to understand, that's questions from the chat. How has the charter impacted your delivery at work practically? Do your employers demonstrably appreciate the value of the charter? There is also a last question. Are you making more money? That's, I think you probably passed you probably passed the CFA less than 1 year ago. So that last question may be a little bit too fast. But like, has the charter impacted your delivery at work? Do your employers demonstrably appreciate the value of the charter? Yeah.
Okay, so the charter definitely impacts the delivery of my work. As I mentioned earlier, I'm from an engineering background, so a lot of this was new to me. I believe that my ability to perform the way that I do right now in the finance industry is heavily attributed to my time in the program. But regarding my employer, I actually chose to leave traditional employment this year, and I decided to start my own advisory firm. So I'm actively in the market, directly interfacing with clients and seeing how I can support them with my skill set. I think, Elvis, you're saying something, but you're muted. Oh, maybe he's talking to someone else. Yes,
Now,
Elvis?
can you hear Pauline speaking? No.
Oh, am I audible?
Yes, now you are.
Oh, okay. I was saying, maybe I could start again. I'm sorry. I was saying that the charter definitely had a direct impact on my delivery of work. My skill set grew, given that my background was in engineering. I did not know how to do any of the things that I know how to do now. The ability to take what you have learned throughout your journey in the program and practically apply it in your job, 100% rests on you. 100%. No one is going to show you how to do that because the institute did their job and they exposed you to the information that you need. But as a charter holder, I think it's even part of the code and standards that you must remain competitive. As a charter holder, it's a responsibility that we have to the industry. So regarding delivery at work, I definitely see the impact. As per my employer, I just wanted to share that I chose to leave my previous employer, Uganda Development Bank, and then I went into private practice and currently building an advisory firm, a financial advisory firm. So if you're asking me if the charter has come in handy, I know I would not have been in position to do what I'm doing now without it.
Thank you, Pauline. The next one is on the. I'm reading the questions in the chat. You have mentioned that you use YouTube videos to study. Can Diana or Pauline share like exact YouTube videos that they use? You can mention one or two or three. Which channels did you follow on YouTube? But I assume this is personal. There are many channels you can use as many like different materials as you see fit. But someone asked the specific channels that you used. Yeah.
So I personally didn't use any YouTube videos for any of the 3 levels.
Same for Pauline.
Yeah, me neither. I don't think that the program material is actually available on YouTube. I don't think so. I didn't use YouTube.
Okay, understood. I personally used some YouTube videos for level 1. We had some Mark Merdrum videos that were free back in the days. So because I didn't pay for Mark Merdrum, I used to watch Mark Merdrum on YouTube. And also there are some channels covering some sections of the curriculum, not the whole curriculum, but some sections. So sometimes they can be useful, but yeah, good to know. Someone was asking, and yeah, I had to read the questions. And someone else was asking what is the structure of the exam at each level. I can say that for level 1 and level 2, there are multiple choices, and level 3, there is an essay part that is added. So you have the same multiple choices, and then an essay part is added. Someone else is asking if I'm self-studying, how do I get a study group? I think Diana mentioned that she reached out in a group asking if someone wanted to study with her. I think you reach out to people. There's also Reddit. I don't know if you want to touch base on it, Diana. How do someone get like a study group if they are self-studying? Yeah.
So it's just reaching out to people. I said there are WhatsApp groups. I think if you're not a member, probably Grace can share links and you can join. So from there, they're usually level 1, level 2, level 3 groups. So you can join and just text there, who wants to join my study group. There's also Reddit. Yeah, I also used Reddit a lot. And you can also post your question there and someone is going to answer. So just go on Reddit and search CFA, either level 1, level 2, level 3, and you'll get the community.
Thank you. Thank you, Diana. So the next question is, did any of you try to apply for the Access Scholarship? I know 2 individuals who got the scholarship from Rwanda. Someone is asking, could they please share further insights? From what I know, they they followed the process, and it was really like just following the process. There was nothing special that they did, and they got the scholarship. I don't know if any of you applied for a scholarship, Pauline and Diana.
I did
Yes.
apply, but I was not successful.
Oh, okay. And
For my side, I applied for level 2 and I was successful and yeah, I got it. But I know there are more scholarship opportunities, especially for East Africa. Grace probably will share about that at the end of the session.
got it. Someone else, Charterholder is asking, are the 3 CFA levels independent, or does each level build on what you learned in the previous one? That's correct. Each level builds on what you learned in the previous one. For the first level, the level 1, do you want to cover it, Diana or Pauline? How the 3 levels link to each other?
Yes.
Okay, please proceed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Yes, the 3 levels build onto each other. They definitely. It's level 1 is more introductory and familiarization that is required of the candidate. Level 2 now introduces a bit of more complex relationships, and then level 3 now it's higher degrees of relationships, but it's the same knowledge base. That is just the degree of complexity increases with each level.
Yeah, thank you, Pauline. The next question is, after successfully completing each level, do candidates receive any certificate of completion? No, they don't. However, people recognize that you have passed level 1 or you have passed level 2, and for each level that you pass is a kind of small degree that you get. At least people can recognize that you have passed level 2. Even if you didn't pass level 3, they will acknowledge that. So the next question is more about the student experience. After passing level 1, do you generally feel more confident and motivated to continue with level 2? Or does it feel like you've already accomplished a significant milestone and need to reassess before continuing? Do you want to touch base on that? Like after passing level 1, did you feel like you should stop there and that was enough? You've given up too much of your time? Or I don't think so.
No.
So the next one is a comment. How do you think AI will help candidates to prepare for exams? And my random thoughts, how do you think pursuing CFA will be relevant with AI having ability to handle most tasks and explain a lot of things that CFA does? I think I can try to reply to that one. AI currently at the beginning of the trends, people were saying that AI is going to replace jobs and everything, but we've realized that AI is helping people who are already in the field do their job a little bit faster and a little bit better. So at the end of the day, finance professionals will need to understand what the AI tool is using, and will need to have the capabilities to orient the tools that they are using. So I think we agree on that one. And I'll go to the next one. Looks like both of you studied far more than 300 hours, especially if you are reading 6 hours a day. Realistically, can you pass with about 250 and 300 hours of study? That's a very good question, because when you're Googling about the CFA program, they will tell you that someone can pass the CFA exam. For you to pass the CFA exam, you need to study for 300 hours. But honestly, I studied for far more than 300 hours, probably 600, 700, I don't know, I didn't count, but that was far more than 300 hours. So if you could, perhaps you can touch base on this. Can you pass with, we feel like you both studied more than 300 hours for level. Is it the case?
I did study more than 300 hours. I think as per how I had laid out my study plan, I moved closer to 1,000 hours. But my thinking was, how do I give myself the best possible chance to succeed? And if the best possible chance to succeed required me to study for 3 times maybe the recommended amount, then yes, I just had to do it. Regarding passing, if you've studied 250 to 300 hours, I think it's possible, especially if you have a bit of a background on certain, if you've been working in the investment industry and these are things that you're doing every day, maybe you can, but I don't know. But I think it's possible.
Thank you, Pauline. Before Diana jump in, just to remind you that out of the 5 people who start the CFA level 1, only 1 will end the program. So the 300 hours could be an average, but I don't know if that's the average of the people who passed. But something else worth to mention is that most of the people who pass the 3 exams have to sit more than once for each exam. So instead of sitting 3 times for an exam and studying 300 hours for each pass, you'd rather go for 900 hours and pass on the first attempt. But yeah, please go ahead, Diana.
I wanted to say what Pauline said. For you to pass by around like 300 hours, I think if you're already in the industry, especially now, let's say what I do, because what I do is exactly what I read in CFA. So if you're already in the industry and have a bit of background, then it's very much possible. But why take the gamble? It's already a lot of money spent and a lot of hours put in. So just lock in and push in those 600 hours.
Yeah, I think we are coming to an end. If there are more questions, I will try to reply to them at the end, but for the interest of time, let's finish with something everyone can take away. In one line each, Diana, then Pauline. You can tell us what's the single most important piece of advice you'd give a candidate who's in the thick of it right now. Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
if before they give their final thoughts, I thought we need to speak about the day of the exams. How should I best, what should be my frame of mind, and within the 30 minutes that we have between one paper to the next, what should I actually do with those 30 minutes? How should I maintain my composure? I think that might help more people, to not lose their confidence on that day of the exam. So if we can touch on that before we have our final thoughts, I think that might help someone pass.
Yeah, thank you, Grace. Yes, I can.
Okay.
Okay.
So let me do prep day before and day of the exam. So day before the exam, I don't do anything regarding CFA. I will not look at the notes. I will not look at anything. And if I have to look at whichever concept, it will be for a short period of time. So what I did for the 3 levels is the day before the exam, unless there's a concept that I feel like it has really disturbed me in my course of reading, that's the only thing that I'm going to look at. And I tell myself at 1, books are closed till the paper the next day. The day of the paper, ensure that, first of all, I get a good sleep, good enough sleep, and then borrow an extra calculator. So something happened to me when I did my level 3. After I had started the morning paper, my calculator died. And I didn't have an extra calculator. I didn't have batteries, nothing. So I had to call the invigilator for him to go around the class asking for an extra calculator. Thank God I passed. But that's something that I encourage someone going to do the paper. Have your calculator, and if you can borrow an extra one, the better. And now the day of the paper, get there early. If you can have breakfast. And then once you sit at your allocated computer, don't start immediately. You don't have to click start immediately you sit down. Breathe in, breathe out, relax, ensure you're in the right mind frame, and then now you can click start. The 30 minutes break between the 2 papers. don't open your books. For me, when going to the exam center, I didn't carry any study material. I didn't carry anything. It was just my pen, my phone, and calculator and passport. That's it. Because you'll be tempted to start opening. Maybe the morning paper gave you shege and you're like, whoo, let me open something and try to save myself the PM paper. Don't do that. Just relax 30 minutes, drink your water, breathe in, breathe out, go back, do the next paper. I think the general thing is be relaxed. Try to find ways that you can relax. Because if your mind is all over the place, you'll also be confused when you're typing in your answers or when you're choosing your answers. So whichever ways you can find to relax, pack your passport early, your calculator, ensure it's working, carry a pen. Yeah, and go in and believe in yourself.
So my experience regarding that last day before the exam and the exam day, it was really the same thing as Diana. I don't know if we had discussed how we were going to approach the last days, but it was really the same thing. We didn't study. But I remember we were like texting each other, yeah, we've already passed. This is already, our success is already cast in stone. So trying to keep a positive mind frame. Maybe just to get into the specifics of what to eat, you want to eat foods that are sustainable fuel sources, because you do not want to eat 3 slices of bread at 30 minutes into the exam. You're now dozing because the bread is too heavy in your system. Eat something light but sustainable. Maybe some protein. You can have some eggs, or any kind of protein is really a good sustainable energy source to keep you stable without any dips or falls during that 2 hours and 15 minutes. During the 30-minute break, I took a walk, I had a yogurt, and then I came back in. I think I took like only a 10 minutes break, but generally the walk was to let me know that, the AM paper has ended. I have already passed. Diana is likely also eating her yogurt and she has passed, and we are going to do the same thing in the PM paper. But the mindset, it goes a very long way to tell yourself positive things, a very long way, because you can do it. The other charter holders are also people like us. We are all just human beings and they did it. So there's nothing in your way.
Yeah, thank you, Diana. Thank you, Pauline. Apparently, that's common not to study during the 30 minutes break between one exam and another. That was the same for me. I wasn't studying between the during the break and also just before the exam. I don't know if Grace wanted to add something else that we should cover before, but we are almost there for the time that we had planned to use. So we can perhaps take the single most important piece of advice you'd give a candidate today. Perhaps Diana and then Pauline. What's the single most important piece of advice you'd give a candidate who is in the middle of it right now, like preparing for an exam, sitting, for example, in November or February? What's the single most important piece of advice? Like a takeaway. Yeah.
Okay. Before I answer that, there's a question which was asked, when's the best time for one to enter the industry? The best time is when you get an opportunity to enter the industry, whether you have the CFA or not. You can still pursue it while still in the industry. If you get an opportunity to get into the investments finance industry, go for it. Pursue your CFA while you're already there. Advice to candidates, I think one, the moment you said that you're going to pursue whichever level you're pursuing, believe in yourself from the word go. Believe that this is something that you can do. Have it in your head, you've already passed, and put in the hours. As you've said earlier, you see online 300 hours, 300 hours. If you can put in more, put in more. And then something else, do as many questions as you can, because questions will test you whether you've understood the concept. So do as many questions as you can, and you can mix it up where if you've been reading, let's say, economics, derivatives, alternative investments, at the end of the week, ensure you've done questions across all those units that you've covered. So do as many questions as possible, and have a study partner, a discussion group, someone to keep you accountable.
Thank you, Diana. Pauline, and if you can also, I don't know if you want to reply to. I mean, I would like. Sorry, Pauline, to interrupt you. Diana just started with a response to that question. When is the best time to enter the industry? So a question came to my mind. How old are you, Diana and Pauline? Are you like? My personal opinion is that the younger you are, the better. But that could be wrong. But there are always exceptions. But given that in many industries you'll have to start somehow at the bottom, so the younger you are, the better. But yeah, I assume they are young. They don't have to mention their age. But yeah. So, and also there's another question of how did you find each other as a partner? I think Diana replied to it. And also something else, I think so more questions are coming, but the time schedule for this webinar is coming to an end. So I'll let Pauline give us the single most important piece of advice before before the closing remarks. Thank you, Pauline.
Thank you, Elvis. So maybe just to piggyback off what you've just said, yes, the younger you are, the better. And it's not just a question of age, it's also a question of how much responsibility do you have around you that will compete with your study time. So the older you are, there's a higher probability that maybe you're already married and you have children, and there are all these conflicting loyalties when it comes to study time. But the younger you are, if you're not yet committed in any such way, then you get to really be very single-minded and have tunnel vision for the goal. My last piece of advice is be brave. Do the hard thing. The CFA journey is going to be the most remarkable thing that you're likely going to do when it comes to your education, not just because of the content that you're exposed to, but because of how it will reveal yourself to you. You'll discover how smart you are. You'll discover how capable you are of doing anything that you set your mind to. So do the hard thing. I know most of you, when you are having conversations about pursuing the charter, there is always this kind of silence and fear that, oh no, in your country there are only 50 charter holders, and are you sure you can do this? It's hard. Don't just go. And there are all these warnings, but do the hard thing. Every charter holder is a person like you. So do the hard thing. Maybe if you enjoy reading, I'd like to recommend a book. It's the book that I read when I was starting my level 1 and everything was so hard. And yeah, but the book is called Grit, Grit, by Angela Duckworth. In this book, she presents a lot of scientific evidence backing why it matters to do hard things. So I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, good luck on your journeys. You will pass. You will all do well.
Thank you.
Just to add, I also read the same book. So it seems, yes, read it and you're going to pass.
Thank you, Pauline. Thank you, Diana. So in brief, do the hard things. Even if the CFA appears to be challenging and everything, it's doable. So do the hard things. Do it because it's hard. I mean, embrace it and do it. You can do it. So Diana, Pauline, thank you both. That was generous and generally practical. And I know it will stay with people who managed to join this webinar. Thank you to everyone who joined us today, and to the CFA Society East Africa. and the collaborating societies across Africa for bringing this together. If tonight was useful, stay connected with your local CFA society, whether it's in Rwanda or the CFA Society East Africa in general. And to every candidate watching, the charter is hard, but as you've heard tonight, it's absolutely doable, one level at a time. We are rooting for you, and yeah, that's all. Good night, everyone. Good rest of the day. Thank you. Grace, you want to add something?
Thank you so much, Elvis, Pauline, and Diana. I think my three takeaways in today's webinar is prepare, meaning prepare early, practice, do all the mock sessions if you can, because you'll have time because you'll have prepared early. But above all, maintain a positive mindset. I had a very nice quote today from Dr. Cindy Trim. She said, every decision that you make today is an appointment with your future. So the decisions you make today will determine how your future will look like. Do what works for you. Like I think our president has said on the chat, it's not a one shoe fit all. There is always what works for everybody. So do what works for you. In terms of sponsorship, because I know that came up, be always on the lookout on the CFA Institute website, on the CFA Society website, or on our social media pages. We always post these scholarships as they come up. I know the Access Scholarship has just opened today, so if you can apply early so that you can apply it with ease, not towards the deadline. So gather all the materials that are needed so that your application can be successful, and for sure you will make it. If you don't make it this time, try again, don't give up. We also have, depending on where people work, we do have regulatory scholarships. So if you work with a regulator and the HR tells you they're not signed up, feel free to reach out to your respective societies, and they can ensure that they make that happen for you so that you can get that. Or if you know that your company can qualify for the various scholarship on the different websites that I've mentioned, feel free to reach out again to your society administrators. They will see how to make sure that you cross over to the other side. For East Africa, stay alert on our social media pages. We are cooking something internally, and once that is ready, we'll be able to let you know. But again, you have to be engaging with us so that you can be able to see it as soon as it comes. I have met people who did not know that in April we had the Accelerate Scholarship, and they are like, why did you announce it? You have to follow us. You have to always check out what we are posting on our website and on our social media pages so that you can be able to benefit from this amazing scholarship opportunities that come up. Otherwise, from us and to every other society that participated in this call, which is Society Nigeria, Society Ghana, Society South Africa, Mauritius, and Egypt. Thank you very much for coming on board. See you during the next cohort, which is towards the November exams, but everyone sitting in this month's exam in August, we wish you all the best, and we are rooting for you, like Elvis has said, and see you on the other side as we celebrate you as you get your charter holders. Otherwise, have a nice evening, everybody. See you in our next webinar.